What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Sorry that I was late. I didn't realize that they had turned this into an hour and 15-minute episode until I was watching it, and then I had gotten a phone call before I went live, and so I had to take the call. So I apologize that I'm a little late. Let me say hi to the people, and we're gonna jump right in. Now, the first half of this video, we're gonna talk about this finale of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then the second part at the end, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on the. I looked at the past earlier, and I'm gonna give y'all my thoughts. So I'll give everybody a chance to jump out, so they don't want to if they don't want any spoilers, okay? All right, so let me say hi to the people, and then we are going to get into it. Hey, Corey, I didn't watch, but here for the review. Well, thank you, my love. Lemon Kush, Vantage, the reunion looks like it's going to be fire. Hey, Charles, I need to have a watch party for the reunion, honey. Hey, Amber. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Sweet Pea. Amber says, Ralph is trying to gaslight the psychiatrist. I couldn't believe what I was watching. That man doesn't need to be with anyone. He's liberated. I'm sick of that man. Listen, Ralph is one of those people that always thinks he's the smartest person in the room. You saw him at the end when he was trying to gaslight the producers about I'm gonna come back to that. Okay. Hey, Marlo Michelle, Janae. Hey, boo. Not the past is Drew's autobiography. Look, when I was watching the past, I said the same thing. I said, Drew, you let Candy play you like this in your face? But anyway, I'm sorry. Is Really Be having an issue with stream, y'all? Oh, no, I was just late. Can y'all see me? Y'all can't see me or hear me? I was just late. Hey, Quake, Nikki. Hey, Mr. Willie Brown, Montrez. Give Me Shelter. Hey, Ray. Hey, Cross Country Cruiser. Hey, my love. Hey, Brittany, what's going on? Just P. Hey. Hey, Ravine. You have to watch the past. I'm not going to watch. Oh, I'm going to watch the past right after this review. Okay, so I'm going to let y'all know before I start talking about the past. So if you want to, get out, if you want to tip out and come back, I'm going to try to edit this video so that I can break it up. I just didn't have time to do two different videos. Y'all know I go back to work tomorrow, child, and I'm starting, I can't be up late tonight. So I was like, I really just didn't have time to do two separate videos. So I'm going to try to edit it so that I can upload it as two separate videos. But for tonight, we're going to do it as one big happy party. Okay. Hey, Starbell. Exactly. Ralph will get his comeuppance. He's losing his meal ticket. Child, we'll get there. So, from my understanding, last week's episode was originally supposed to be the finale. And that the only reason why they extended the episode is because of Drew. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm not convinced that this extra episode was just because of Drew. I'm kind of convinced that this extra episode was Candy and Drew. Because we know, even though I think once the decision was made that Peacock was going to stream the movie, I don't know when the contracts were signed. I don't know when Candy and NBC Universal made that decision. But I think that once that conversation was had, I think that was part of this extra episode because a major part of this episode was the viewing. And I think once we realized that we were going to have this strike and that they wouldn't be able to advertise, it was right on time. Now, let me say this before we get into this episode, because the episode really, it was some stuff there. We'll get into it. But Sheree, come here. Come here, Sheree. Come here, down front. I need to talk to you right now. Sheba Sheree, come here, down front, right here. Girl, this is how you launch. This is how you launch. What's up, L Steel Southwest? Okay. Hey, Phil. Hey, Sin Cameron. Hey, Colton. Gossip in the Garden. I like that. Gossip in the Garden. I enjoyed the past. I didn't expect to like it. I was watching with hateration eyes, but I actually liked it. And Gossip in the Garden said she liked it too. Listen, Sheree, this is how you launch something. You see how Candy had this final episode. You see how Bravo gave Candy a whole advertisement. You see how Bravo and Candy circumvented the rules of the strike, and she basically was able to advertise this movie without having to advertise the movie. And you see how the movie was there? It was on the. You can go watch it now. It's been streaming all day. You see that, Sheree? That's what you do. Moving on. So we start this episode off. Child. We have what's her name? Sonya. We have Sonya Richardson's Ross. Excuse me, Sonya Richardson's Ross. I keep adding the S. We have her going down to her OBGYN appointment. And now again, unfortunately, we know that she ended up losing the baby that we see in this episode. We found out at the end of the episode that she had a very painful miscarriage, and unfortunately, she was out of town. She was not with her husband. She thought she would have time to get back home so that she could go to Dr. Jackie and have the DNC, which is basically what they do when you they do it for different reasons, but one of the main reasons is when if there is a miscarriage where the fetus stops growing and things of that nature, and they have to remove it from a woman's body, but it's too early for her to like give birth, right? So she thought she was gonna have time to get home. She did not, and it became an emergency medical situation. She had to go to the hospital. She had to have a blood transfusion. So, you know, I definitely my heart goes out to her. So yeah. So we saw that this episode. I'm gonna go ahead and get Marlo out the way too, child. Marlo and Scott Lee, child, they still dating. Okay. She invited him down to Lee Archive. And that's the first. Listen, that was the first time we saw or heard of Lee Archive this whole season. Now she said that she's doing wardrobe for Tammy Roman's show, and she's got, you know, she did tell us about some things that Lee Archive is doing. How about that? Would have been a great storyline, Marlo. Rather than attacking Candy for the first 4 episodes, that would have been a really great thing to show us, especially for all the haters, especially for all the people who've been talking about Lee Archive and what it is and what it isn't. Girl, stop on them hoes. You wasting time yelling at Candy about something that happened 2 years ago. Girl, stop on them hoes. Show them women what you really got going on, you know? Because let's be clear, if they hadn't extended the season for this extra episode, would we have even seen that? Probably not. Wasted. See, this is what I mean, how y'all be hating on Candy, but y'all don't take Candy's blueprint. Do you really feel like Candy would have a business that is doing well and not highlighted, not film, you know? And again, I understand that the editors, you know, that the people, the producers take out what they want to take out and add what they want to add. But baby, I would have gave them so much footage from the archive, they wouldn't have had no choice. You know what I'm saying? I would every time I had a scene, I'd be like, girl, meet me at the archive. Meet me down to the archive. Like I would have had 4, 5 scenes filming in the archive, and then they would have had to use something. One of them scenes they was gonna need for the storyline. But anyway, child. Candy had 2 blowout parties this season: the 10-year anniversary of Baron Candy, and then the launch of the Pass. Burrs Tucker make a dope team, true partnership. They really do. Like look. Again, I really hate that so many people ran with the Mama Joyce narrative that Todd wasn't ish, and he was just somebody living off of Candy's money, and he ain't had no ambition and no drive. Like, I really hate that so many people ran with that narrative about Todd, because it's clear if you really pay attention, it really is not true. I don't think there's a build. I don't think there's a building for the archive. I mean, maybe not. So anyway, so that's what was going on with Marlo. Sheree, we saw Sheree in a scene with her daughter about her fibroids and about Bob's baby. Let me tell y'all something. I don't a bit more believe that Sheree didn't know about that baby than the man in the moon. I just don't believe it. Now, that's my 2 cents. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. First of all, I don't believe nothing that come out of Sheree's mouth as it relates to things like that. I just don't believe her. I do not believe that Bob had now. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bob. We know Bob got some cojones, but I do not believe that Bob showed his happy tail up at that party. And I know a lot of y'all put in my comments that he paid for the party. Look, I don't know, and I really don't care who paid for the party. But even if he paid for the party or didn't pay for the party, I don't care. Bob would not have shown up with that child, with that little girl. Well, she's not a little girl, she's a young woman. And had her standing all in them family pictures. Well, forget about Bob, because Bob might have tried it. You mean to tell me Sheree, queen of the ball, Miss, you think that Sheree wouldn't have turned around and said, who this woman, Hoppo? You mean to tell me that Sheree sat there and let Bob pull some random young lady from out of the crowd into the family pictures and Sheree ain't say nothing? Sheree ain't stop. Sheree ain't say, wait, whoa, hold on, photographer. Bob, who this? Even if it was Bob's girlfriend, Sheree would have been like, wait, whoa, who this? And then Bob told on you when he said that the kids have hung out together. It's no way in hell that your son and daughter been hanging out with this girl, young lady, excuse me, that is Bob's other daughter that you don't know about, and they never came back and told you. Now, I'm not saying you knew about her when y'all were married. That ain't what I'm saying either, because I think she might have been a pop up on you kind of baby, okay? I don't think Bob knew about her when she was born. I don't think so. But ain't no way in hell Sheree ain't know who that little girl, I keep calling her little girl, who that young lady was. I don't believe it. So we had this stupid scene with Sheree in the car lying about not knowing that was a baby, okay? Even her daughter, that's not Bob's daughter, has met her. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's no way in hell. Neighborhood Talk posted about Kenya and a birthday party for her daughter. They are making negative comments towards Kenya. Okay. I mean, I don't know what what you want me to say? I don't know why people are making negative comments about a little girl's birthday party, but people are stupid. I don't know. So yeah, so that was Sheree. So I'm just knocking all these other people out the way so we can get to the nitty gritty, child. So we at the house with Drew. Drew is tired. Okay, they done wrapped this movie that they did the Tyler Perry schedule, and they filmed this movie in like 2 weeks down to Candy and Todd's property, their compound. Okay, and Drew is tired, right? And we see her and Ralph have a conversation. So Ralph done bought her breakfast in bed. And see, here's how I know that things are just bad with them, because he tried to bring her breakfast in bed and try to put this front on like he's such a loving husband. And she just wasn't even, she was too tired to pretend. See, this way Drew and Ralph been playing games and been in our face, lying in our face about the state of their relationship since they started this show, okay? And Drew was too tired to play with y'all. And so Drew sat there and was like, so you done moved out the bedroom. Why? And he talking about something for his, because when she come in late at night, it disturbs his sleep. And then he up for 2 or 3 hours. So he's sleeping in the damn bunk bed. He got to get up and go to work. He tired. So then Drew shows him the video of Courtney calling her out her name. And he was like, oh, wow. So what do you think about it? She was like, no, that's for you. What do you think about it? That woman sat there, looked me dead in my face and lied to me and said that she never called me out my name. Yet here's a video of her calling me out my name. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, that's your cousin talking about me. Now let me put a pin in that right there. I told y'all, if you rewind the tape back to the first review, maybe the first or second episode, but I know it was the first or second episode when they first started calling Courtney some damn cousin Courtney. What did I tell y'all then? What I tell y'all then, I told y'all that woman and Ralph, they got a relationship. They know each other, and that's the cover story. Now, I'm not saying that they got a biblical relationship like they know each other, but I'm saying they didn't just meet each other on this season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They already knew each other. Now, how they knew each other, that remains to be determined. And I'm going to tell you how. She gave herself away. Cousin Courtney, she gave herself away at the end of this episode when she was doing her green screens and she was talking about Drew and Ralph's relationship, and she was bringing up shit that happened last season with the adoption, talking about some now we know why she was pushing for that adoption so hard. She was trying to have Ralph adopt her baby so she could be out here with her lover. And yeah, I knew about it. And yeah, Ralph told me. And yeah, I had pictures and I had video. You too close to Ralph for y'all to have just met each other. And y'all let me tell y'all something. I have met people just randomly out in the world and we find out we connected. Oh, wait a minute. My grandmother is your grandmother's second cousin. Oh, wow. What's up, cousin? Baby, and I'm going about my business. That does not instantly make us family because I don't know you. That don't mean I like you or dislike you because I don't know you. We might even exchange social media information because you're probably not going to get my phone number, okay? Because I don't know you. Just because I'm down to a cookout and I found out that my grandma and your grandma was sitting by the fire, that don't make us family. Now, if that sounds harsh, I'm sorry. That sounds harsh. But let me tell you something. Courtney know way too much of y'all business. And I know some of it she could watch the show, but she know too much of y'all business. Ralph was doing too much to defend her. So Ralph gonna say, well, I mean, I've heard these other women call you out your name and you still cool with them. So what's the problem? That's not even the point, Ralph. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is this woman who we were trying to build a relationship with as family is out here co-signing, calling me out my name, and then lied to me, looked me dead in my face and lied about it. So Drew was like, you know what? I can't do this. Like, because again, see, this is how you know when you tired, you don't have the energy. When you are exhausted and you've been working late nights and early mornings and you still got to take the kids to school and you still got to do this and do that, baby, you ain't got the energy to play them games. So she wasn't even playing them games with Ralph. So she went downstairs and she brought it up to the sister. Baby, the sister was like, yep. I remember her. She looked me dead in my face and said that she didn't call Drew out her name. She didn't call Drew a bitch. Vantage said when I was in high school, I found out my cousin was in my homeroom and I still didn't like her. Shout. Don't Drew got the money? Courtney going to end up it's a fly here. Hooking up with Ralph. I don't know who got the money. And I'm just being truthful about the matter. I don't know who had the money because I don't know who had the money. That's all I'm going to say. So the sister was like, hell yeah. So Ralph gonna throw the same thing at the sister, talking about some, well, I mean, that ain't the first time somebody done called you a bitch. Like, what's the big deal? And baby, the sister started going off on Ralph, and then Ralph snapped at the sister, and that's when Drew was done. Drew was like, you know what? I can't do this. Baby, she asked him to take that mic off of her. That's how you know when they done for real. That's how you know that they done for real. When she asked him to take that mic off, baby, she wasn't playing. And she was like, I can't believe you embarrassing me like this. Like, you didn't even have to say nothing. Like, why are you even in this conversation? You didn't need to say nothing. Baby, the way Allison lit into Ralph's ass and told him, you just messing up my zen. Okay? We had peace. You effing it up. Now, Allison didn't cuss. I'm saying effing it up. Okay? So honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all about the situation. That was really like, well, Allison clearly, listen, Allison made it very clear she didn't like Ralph. She said that early on when she was talking about how Ralph basically kept her from, like, remember she was banned from the house and she didn't even know nothing about it. And she talked about how her and Ralph didn't get along, but she was working in the capacity of Drew's manager at the time. And so she, was not just looking at things from a perspective of a sister, from the point of view of a sister, but also from the point of view of a manager. So Ralph really wasn't feeling her. Ralph ain't want her being, rational mind in Drew's ear. You know that. So next we see Kenya and her daddy, and Kenya is cooking for her daddy, and she tells her daddy about wanting to have a baby, and she let us know that she is not gonna carry the baby because he got mad because he was like, you almost died. Like, why would you be thinking about having another baby? You literally almost died. And she was like, well, I'm gonna have a surrogate. I've talked to some people, my friends have done it. And so he seemed to be okay with that. I still don't feel like, she said that legally the embryos belong to her, but I told y'all, and again, I am nobody's attorney. I didn't go to nobody's law school. Y'all know I got my law degree from Law and Order University by way of Matlock College, so I really don't know. But what I do know is that when it comes to surrogacy and embryos and stuff like that, baby, case law is still being written. So even though he signed over his legal rights and he did this and he did that, we know that when it comes to certain things, people can challenge stuff and they can change stuff all the time. We've seen closed adoptions not be so closed, right? We've seen airtight paperwork. But when you get in a family court and you get a sympathetic judge about family and father's rights and mother's rights and all of that, baby, stuff just don't always end up the way it's supposed to end up. So that's all I'm saying, Kenya. And I get it. Those are your embryos. They belong to you. They came out of your body. I get it. But child, that man just crazy. He just crazy. Okay. Yeah, I wish they hadn't had that conversation in front of Brooklyn either, but child, these people on these reality shows just don't seem to care about talking in front of these kids. That just ain't how I grew up. And I know that I'm old and I'm old school, but that just ain't how I grew up. Like, my mama would put us out the room in a second. Right, pulling Naomi Campbell's shoe. Naomi Campbell just popped up with a baby. We didn't know nothing about it. We didn't know. Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, they just popped up with a baby. Like, we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And again, I get it. It's a thin line you have to walk when you are in the public eye versus, I get it, but not Courtney went too far when she had that hot mic. Where's the folded shit? Child. Child. Right. Naomi did it twice. Look, it felt so good. She did it twice, child. Hold on a second, real quick, y'all. Hold on. I still put my kids out for adult conversations. Listen, I agree. It's just things and again, that's just how I grew up, child. Now, Tyra popped up with a baby, but we saw Janet pregnant. We saw Halle Berry pregnant. We saw Janet pregnant, child. Because I remember she had to cancel a tour. Because she got pregnant. Anyway, moving on, child. Moving on. You know what, Xavier? I'm not doing this with you. Now she popped up with everything except for that DeBarge baby. I ain't doing this with you. Moving on. Moving on. So, right, we saw Janet and Halle Berry pregnant. At least I know I did. I saw it. All right, so, and then Naomi kept those kids so airtight. Right, I still don't think we've seen their faces. We haven't seen a lot of pictures of Janet's baby. When he was younger, but we don't see a lot of pictures of Janet's son. So the next thing we know, we have Drew and Ralph going to therapy. Let me tell y'all something. This scene right here, if this scene, see, this is how I know that production did a piss poor job this season. Why wasn't this already in the season? Why was this not in last week's episode? It's no way in hell that I would have had this therapy session and not shown it. Y'all show a one-on-one session with Drew and her husband. I mean, with Drew by herself, but you didn't show this. And the reason why I don't know if they had it or not, because they stopped filming at the end of January and then they started filming again in March. But I feel like they only filmed in March again just to get the people's reaction about the divorce and do additional green screens. I honestly do not feel like they did a whole lot of filming. No, I don't feel like they did a whole lot of filming. And I could be wrong because I don't work on production, but I feel like you had this scene with Ralph and Drew. First of all, you had the fight. So you had that scene with Ralph, Drew, and her sister. And it had to be close to what we saw last week, because last week was when they wrapped the movie. Remember? They wrapped the movie in last week's episode. This was a week after they wrapped the movie. So it's gotta be, all of this had to be in the same time frame. Why in the hell would this not have already been included? You mean to tell me that last week's episode, y'all gave us that boring ass one-on-one scene with Drew and the therapist, and y'all had the shit with Ralph gaslighting, trying to gas the hell out of the therapist about why he moved out of the room? See, this is what I'm talking about. When people start complaining about production, this is the shit that we're talking about. Hold on, y'all. That's the stuff that we're talking about. They could have shown us the scene in this episode with Drew by herself talking about she need to make a decision about her marriage, because that episode from last week, basically that therapist was telling her that she need to divorce that man. Ethically, I guess he can't come right out and say it, but I feel like that's what they were saying in last week's episode. Now they was trying to make it stretch, but make what stretch, Natalie? What are you trying to stretch? Last week was supposed to be the finale. So what were you? Why were you holding on to the footage? Why wouldn't you have included that in last week's episode? You see what I'm saying? Last week was supposed to be the finale. Everything we got this week was just throwaway footage that they weren't going to use. So remember, Kenya said that they filmed the opening of her salon. Remember, we saw that. We saw this throwaway scene with Sheree and her daughter in the damn car. We saw this throwaway scene with Marlo down to Lee archive with Scott Lee. Like, all that shit was throwaway scenes. And even the scene with Marlo, the only reason why they showed the scene with Drew and Marlo down to Dr. Jackie's, unfortunately, is because she ended up losing that baby. Had none of that, like, all of that was throwaway scene except for this shit with Drew and Ralph. Why did we not see any of that? Am I tripping? Anyway, so we got it tonight, child. And Ralph was sitting there in that therapy session, and he really think he's the smartest person in the room. This man sat there and said that he moved out the room. First, it was because she wakes him up. Then it was because the mom, she liked to keep the room too cold. But then it was for his liberty and his liberation. So ultimately, you just moved out because you didn't want to sleep. You didn't want to sleep with your wife no more. And then at the end, when production asked Ralph, did you move back in the room? He was like, yeah, after the movie wrap. Drew was like, no. Now, I know Drew a liar. And we have chronicled all the lies. Well, maybe not all of them. But I don't think she lied about that. I don't think she lied about Ralph not moving back in that bedroom. I don't think she lied about that. Because he really had no good reason to move out to begin with. You mean to tell me, first of all, you married an actress. Now, I understand that that Todd and Candy were doing the Tyler Perry production schedule. I get that. I get that. But at the end of the day, you married an actress. She keeps, when she's working on a project, she's going to keep long hours. So y'all been married for 7 years, dated for a year before that, and you mean to tell me you're not used to that yet? You're not used to her coming in late or having to leave early? It disturbs your sleep pattern to the point where you can't sleep in the same room with her? Bullshit. Like, I could see if this was Drew's first movie. But this ain't even Drew's first movie since y'all been married. Like, I mean, I know she's not no Academy Award winning actress, but she has done some projects in the last 8 years. This not even her first movie since y'all got married. She's done a bunch of Lifetime movies and all kinds of shit. Child. I was planning my Sunday watch party because I thought this was reunion night. I bet what Kenya said on Carlos King's podcast prompted producers to scramble to include air footage. Maybe. Baby. Excuse me, y'all. Baby, the way that therapist was looking at Ralph when he was talking, did y'all see that? Wasn't it Dr. Drew, whatever the man name is? He was like, even to the point where Ralph had to be like, why are you looking at me like that? Why are you looking at me like that? Why you think he looking at you like that, Ralph? Why do you think he looking at you like that? Exactly. Like, I just, like, you're not gonna sit here and make it seem like, oh well, Ralph, you married an actress and she's never had regular hours. Like, stop it. Pause. This is the prettiest collective cast of Housewives. Oh, okay. Right, Amber. So anyway, so I don't know what we were supposed to do with that scene. I don't know what we were supposed to do. Dr. Ken, that's it. Right. Dr. Ken, that's exactly what he wanted to say. Ninja, are you crazy? That's exactly what his face was saying. His face was saying, Ninja, are you crazy? So anyway, we see the people getting ready for the party. Now, I watched the credits. Don Juan is an associate producer on The Pass, okay? So is Drew. Drew is an associate producer as well. So shout out to Drew for getting production credit, honey, on the movie. So shouts out to you. Now, and don't forget, we're gonna talk about The Pass in a few minutes because I'm almost done, child. We almost done. So we are getting ready for the it's not a full screening. It's just for the trailer. It's just for the trailer. And Drew did a live performance. So shouts out to Drew for, again, Drew took a page out of Candy's book and said, oh, we gonna get together, and I got this new single that I done dropped down to the iTunes. Let me do my little duty wop 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 down to the stage after we look at this trailer, since we're gonna have these good 200 people in the room and the cameras is gonna be rolling, right? So I ain't even mad at you, Drew, about that. That's what you were supposed to do. Now, Drew, you did take a page out of Candy's book with that one, okay? So we get to the screening, and it looks very nice as always. Whoever Candy hires to do her events, they usually do a very good job. They had the stars coming down the street like it was the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So they had the stars of the movie name on the stars. That was really cute. And of course, the people showing up one by one. Can I be petty for a minute? All right, I need to be petty for a minute. Sheree, come down to the front. Sheree and Mama Joyce, I need y'all down to the front. Sheree and Mama Joyce, I need y'all down to the front. Burn both them wigs. Sheree had that big old heavy, thick, layered blonde wig looking like Kim Zolciak coming through the door. And Mama Joyce, just know. Just throw it away. Your allowance is too big. The allowance that you get from Candy Burrs. You probably on payroll because Candy's smart enough to put you on payroll so she can, so she can get the tax write-off as an employee or whatever it is. You probably on her payroll, okay? Ma'am, you make too much money to be wearing that wig. Now, that's the second time this season we done seen that wig, Mama Joyce, and I really hope that somebody told you in the nicest way possible to get rid of it. Moving on. Cynthia was cute in that bob with her blue fur on, with her hairdresser who was not her date. But everybody looked cute. The trailer, we've seen the trailer, child. They didn't drop the trailer, so they showed that same trailer that we've seen. And baby, Courtney showed up. And Drew hugged Courtney, but baby, when Courtney went up to Allison, Allison was like, nope, not doing that. I said, I know that's right, Allison. Allison said, I can't be fake. I can't pretend. I can't try. I'm not. No. And then she gonna pull Courtney aside and be like, you look me dead in my face. And you lied. And I don't appreciate it. And here's what I don't think people understand or why people are not. Cause and why Mama Joyce asked Cynthia about her wedding ring. Mama Joyce, you was messy. You knew good and damn well Cynthia was divorced. You was being messy. Here's what I don't think people understand. It wasn't the point that Courtney called that woman a bitch. I don't think anybody was mad about it. I mean, from that point of view, I think it was the vitriol in which she said, I don't even use that word. I would never say that. I would never do that. I would never talk about her. And remember what the whole point of the conversation was about to begin with. The whole point of the conversation was that whole story started because Mayetta was trying to let Drew know that the ladies was conspiring behind your back and they brought your cousin into it. The whole bitch thing was a sidebar to the whole conversation to begin with. The whole conversation was, you better watch Courtney because she don't really have your best interest because she out here gallivanting and hanging out with people who talking shit about you. That was the whole point. Now we got sidetracked on this whole bitch thing, but let's not forget why this conversation even started about Courtney. Because Mayetta sat there and saw them getting in your face and saw you basically turn on Drew. So it wasn't even about the word itself. It was about the fact that you turned on Drew and then you tried to play in her face and say it didn't happen. See what I'm saying? See, so no, the word, okay, fine. But it was the bigger point, and that's what Drew was trying to get RHOA to understand, that there was a bigger point to all of that. But child, anyway. Ty was there. Now, Ty is allegedly the woman that Drew supposedly having this affair with. Now, look. Now, Drew tried to say that she felt like Ralph planted the story because that's one of the things Ralph accused her of. Before I go down that yellow brick road with you, Drew, I need evidence. I need some receipts. I need more. Because I mean, did Ralph pay Mimi? Because Mimi was the one that put it out there. Like, Mimi was the one that told us. I mean, I'm just saying, I need you to draw that line. Because again, even though I think Ralph is a whole lot of things, on this one, I don't know. I might need to side eye a little bit. Now, we'll get to that. So the rest of the screening went well, went nice. Of course, they had to do the whole what happened after the fact. Child, we don't care about none of that. So then we get to these additional green screens, right? We really don't care about nobody else's additional green screens. I done already told you what messy ass Courtney said. Mayetta also said something about Drew knowing Ty or meeting Ty, something like that, saying that Drew told a story about Mayetta told the story about Drew allegedly saying that if her and Ralph ever got divorced, then maybe she would try her hand at her crush, and then her crush was Ty. So here's what I'm gonna say. Do I think that Drew Sidora is playing games and maybe a little bi-curious or maybe even bisexual? Maybe. I'm not gonna sit here and say no. I'm not gonna sit here and say absolutely not. I ain't gonna say that. Maybe. I'm gonna say maybe. Because I believe that Candy saw what she saw. I believe that Drew absolutely kissed LaToya and maybe did a little bit more than that. I believe that. Okay. I believe that Drew didn't want it out there because of her mom and just because of, some people don't want that kind of stuff out there, So I believe that. But at the end of the day, excuse me, I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I don't believe right. I still feel like Ralph, you Drew first blood. Drew might be out here right now living her best life and having her side situations. But honestly, I feel like you Drew first blood. Okay. I don't really feel like we garnered a lot of information out of the green screens. Drew basically had a whole breakdown when she found out when Mimi put that message. It was so funny that that they were doing their green screens when Mimi dropped that information. And baby, it was absolutely hilarious. Okay, it was absolutely hilarious to see that whole thing break down the way it did, because Drew ain't know what to do. Now, I also think that Ralph was lying. Like I said, I think Ralph was lying too, because we sat there. I don't believe that Ralph moved back in that bedroom. I believe that Ralph stayed right where he was the rest of the time. Okay, that's what I believe. So that was pretty much what had happened. Tomorrow, we saw we got the reunion coming up next week. Tomorrow for the Whether You Like It or Not panel. It will be here at my house. We'll be hosting that tomorrow. Now let's talk about the past a little bit. So if you don't, I'm not gonna talk long about the past, but I may give some spoilers. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want any spoilers, then I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to click out. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. But we're gonna talk about the past for a second. Let me write down my timestamp because I'm gonna try to edit this video. So let me write down the timestamp. We are at 40. I'm gonna do it at 44 minutes even. So I give you guys time to get out. Let's not forget Mimi lied. Right, Mimi ain't, but I believe that, again, I'm not gonna say that Ralph and Mimi not in cahoots. I'm gonna say I just need the receipts. Because everybody in this scenario has been known to be a liar, except for Ty. We don't know enough about Ty to say that she's been a liar, but we done call everybody else in a lie, child. So let's talk about the past, y'all. So the past is the movie that Candy has been talking about all season. It's streaming on Peacock. So I watched it earlier today. And like I said, I just didn't have enough time to do a separate live. So I'm not going to tell y'all the whole story, but let's just talk a little bit about it. Before you watch it, was it good? I'm going to talk about it. So the storyline is Drew's character. She is a trust fund baby, right? She's an interior designer, very successful interior designer, but she works for an interior design company. Her husband is a consultant, and we really don't know what the hell he does, okay? Her mama don't like the husband and don't like none of the husband's friends. Now, I'm going to put a pin in that one Y'all remind me to go back to the mama. When I get to the end of this, y'all remind me to go back to the mama. Okay. So it's their anniversary coming up, and he wants to get her this nice anniversary. So we know that the man don't have no money, because the first scene we see is him at the jeweler wanting to buy this nice upgrade of a ring, and his best friend is with him talking about some, damn, you gonna make her pay for her own ring? Where you gonna get the money from? Right? So that's how you know right there this man ain't got no money. Okay. But what you don't know is, does he not have any money because he a deadbeat, or does he just not have the same amount of money that his wife has because she's, a trust fund baby, and she he just trying to impress her, right? So we know the premise of the movie. Basically, it's this whole idea of the past, right? 24 hours, no questions asked. You can do your thing, I do my thing, and that's just that. So the past was introduced to the Drew's husband by one of his boys, right? Him and his wife do it, and it's been working out really great. So then Drew, when the ladies go out to lunch, Drew brings it up. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. In the movie, when she brought it up, I was like, why are you telling that woman's business to everybody? Because the rest of the group of friends was like, what? You giving your husband a pass? And I was like, why are you telling all your business? Why are you telling that woman's business? But of course, and I'm skipping through stuff, so I'm not telling y'all everything, so you can still go watch the movie. I'm not telling y'all everything, okay? So of course, she eventually decides to do the pass with her husband. She's going to LA for a business trip, so she wants to do her little pass. And then she gives the husband permission to do his little pass, right? So while she's gone, the husband goes to the script club and to see a scripper, but she's not at work that night, right? But while the wife is in LA, she ends up having an affair, or starting an affair, with her boss, who, one, is a woman, and two, is her boss, and three, is her husband's best friend. So let me say this, because again, I don't want to give away everything, because it's worth watching. So Jonathan asked me, is it good? It's worth watching. I'm gonna give you my critiques in a minute, but let me finish getting through this. Hey, kiss my cheeks. What's up, girl? So it gives me very Twa-like flavor. Like if you watched Twa, and I'm not saying it has the same storyline as Twa. I mean, it has like it's not a straight story. There's gonna be a twist somewhere. It's gonna be, something is gonna happen at some point, right? So what I will say is this: what I thought was gonna happen is not what happened. Although it's part of what I thought was gonna happen. And I'm not gonna tell y'all everything. I ain't gonna tell y'all everything, because I do want y'all to go watch it, and it has only been out for a day. But what I thought was gonna happen is not what happened. However, I was surprised but not shocked, right? I was like, oh, okay, I see it. But it wasn't like, shit. You know what I'm saying? You were shocked? Yeah. So again, I can go deeper late. Again, I still want to give people time to watch the movie. But I will say this. I thought, now let me say this. Drew is very believable, not just in the sex scenes, but just, first of all, she plays a naive ass wife. Hello, that wasn't much of a stretch. She plays a naive wife who suspects her husband of cheating on her, and child, not much of a stretch, right? Anyway, so this what I'm gonna say. The way they had that mama at the beginning of the movie, the way that mama was watching everything, and the way she was very perceptive about who was who and what was what, I thought the mama had put something in place. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I thought that the mama had put something in place to protect her daughter. You know what I mean? But let me say this. I'm here for a sequel. I'm telling you, Todd, call me. Todd, call me. I want to write the sequel, Todd. I got it. It's right here. I'm here for a sequel. I'm definitely here for a part 2 because the way it ended, I was mad at the way it ended. I was mad. Damn camera. I was mad at the way it ended. And I got the idea. Todd Tucker, call me. Because, baby, I got it. For those who haven't seen the movie, I did tell y'all to click off. So if you still listening, I'm about to really get deep. So if you don't want to hear none of it, then you might want to click off. I want part 2, the revenge. Yes, Quake, listen, let me tell you, when at the end, when her mama was like, don't worry about it, you still a winner. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Baby, let me tell you something. Part 2 need to be some old equalizer type shit. But not that people end up unalive, but from the point of view of get all of them back. First thing she need to do is go find that man from the parking lot. The guy y'all saw they was filming at Blaze? That's Blaze. Where that scene took place where the guy recognized him and called him by a different name. That was Blaze. I said, Candy, I'm not even mad at you, girl. I'm not mad at you. I think the mama knows more too. Quake, I absolutely think the mama knows more. And I feel like that's part 2. I feel like that's part 2 because remember, the mama was very specific and said, I don't trust his friends either, especially not the woman. She not stupid. She knows something, but she also know her daughter, right? I absolutely feel like this what I see. I ain't gonna tell y'all everything because Todd, you need to call me. But this what I see. What they gonna do is pack up and move to another city. You saw they already had their next mark, right? That mark need to be the mama set up. The mama need to set that mark up and get all of the money back plus some, and then call the police. Now I ain't gonna get into all of the details, but baby, the way they left it at the end, where they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be the next mark," and we already found the guy. He's an old gentleman. Blah 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 blah. Because the mama know. The mama know. Now the mama didn't know that. See, the problem was the mama knew that old boy that he won't ish, right? And mama knew that the friends weren't ish. But what mama didn't know was that the daughter was playing right into their hands. The mama didn't know that the daughter was playing right into their hands. You see what I'm saying? And that is where the mama sort of underestimated the situation. Because her, you know, I mean, of course, her daughter wasn't telling her, "Oh yeah, I'm busting down the boss." You know what I'm saying? But there are a lot of different angles that a sequel could come from. But the sequel definitely needs to come from the point of view of getting revenge, getting her money back. It definitely needs to come from that point of view. Right. The first thing they need to do is find that. The first thing she need to do is find that dude from the restaurant, get his story, and then go meet his sister, get her story, and then whatever the mama done put together, whatever information that the mama done gathered on them, and then get the work. I'm telling you, that need to be, and Drew's character need to be her wake up call for her to toughen up and see shit for what it really was. Like really, really go back in her mind and see the whole setup, right? And understand the whole setup. And baby, put them wheels in motion. Her mama tried to tell her why she never questioned that man calling her husband Trey. Listen, let me tell you something. Again, I didn't see the whole picture, but I saw some stuff. And that scene right there was my first glimpse that it was bigger than just what I thought it was, because all of them turned around and looked guilty, except for Drew. Drew was looking confused. Everybody else turned around and was like, "Oh shit!" Especially when that dude called that boy Trey. Baby, all of them turned around when he said Trey. When he said Trey, baby, all of them went. I said, "Oh, it's something else here. There, it's something else here." Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely and I feel like it's been so far it's the number one streaming on Peacock. I don't know how long how long that's gonna last. Probably a week or so. Hopefully hopefully that lasts for about a week or so. And and hopefully that'll be enough for them to want to invest in a part two. Because there's definitely a part two there. It's definitely a part because the way Drew mama told her, don't worry about that. You still a winner. I said, baby. I'm happy for Todd. I'm very happy for Todd. And again, so to answer your question, Jonathan, if you're still here, he might have left, but my overall, so let me give y'all my final synopsis of the past. Yes, I recommend to go see it. My criticism is I think some of the scenes are a little long. Like in the middle, I ain't gonna lie, in the middle, I was a little bit like, okay, can we speed this up a little bit? But it wasn't it wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't to the point where I was like, oh hell no. But it was a couple of scenes that ran a little long. I ain't gonna lie. It's a couple of scenes that made me be like, y'all could have cut this. Y'all could have cut this down a little bit. Like that scene when Drew um when Drew walked in on the boss and the assistant, like that scene, like we get it. There was another scene where Drew, I think it was a scene where she found the condom wrapper in his pocket, and she was just like, oh, like it could have ended right there. Like we got it. She found the condom wrapper. Baby, that scene went on way too long. Like we did not need to sit there and watch her cry for like 3 minutes. I was like, we just going, like she ain't gonna say nothing. She not gonna do nothing. She just gonna stand there crying. It was a couple of scenes like that. But again, not to the point where I feel like it took away from the movie. I just feel like if they had cut a few scenes, not even because right, the movie wasn't that long, so it wasn't, oh, they need to cut the scenes because the movie's too long. No, they just need to cut the scenes because the scenes are too long. You know what I mean? Yeah, not as bad as Tyler Perry, child. Not as bad as Tyler Perry, but there were definitely a couple of scenes where I was like, okay, y'all. But I think the director did a good job. I think the acting was good. I mean, even when you look at the fact that Mayetta was not all that convincing as an attorney, but she was only in the movie like 2 seconds, so it didn't matter. And when I say that, I feel like if I didn't know, like if Mayetta hadn't been on the show and she was just in that role, I don't think it would be an issue. You know what I'm saying? That was me being petty. Mayetta was fine. But I think everybody did a really good job. The acting, I think, was great. I really do. Yeah, there were a few filler scenes. There were. I think if I had to pick one scene that I thought was just a bad, like out of all of the scenes, if I had to pick one scene that I thought was just the worst scene, I feel like the most awkward scene I felt like was the first scene with the guys playing golf when they first talked about the past. I feel like that scene was a little awkward. I mean, do y'all feel what I'm saying too? I feel like that scene was a little awkward, but the rest of it was really good. Like when that scene where the ladies were sitting down talking, I thought that went really well. Um, um, the scenes with Drew and her mom, the love scenes, Shamia did good in her 5 minutes, So honestly, I'll be honest, like I really feel like the acting was really good. The story, it was a good story, for it to be a budget, it was a small budget. I think it did really well. Definitely, it was definitely better than a Tubi movie. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no Academy Award winning production, but it could be on Lifetime. That could be a Lifetime movie. The golf scene was all since they're part of the deception, so it was just for the audience. Yeah, I mean that golf scene was just awkward. The dialogue was a little awkward. And you're right, it was probably edited that way because they had to make it come off a certain way. Right, yeah. The golf scene was again, that's I'm not gonna say that's me being nitpicky, but I think that's me saying, okay, if I have a criticism, that's the criticism. But overall, I mean, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 for a small budget movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably would give it a solid 7.58. I give it a solid 7.58. Would you want to watch it again, or was once enough? I'm gonna tell you the truth. I would probably watch it again because there's a twist at the end, right? And even though they do flashbacks to show you certain things, I would probably watch it again just to see if I could notice certain things that I didn't notice the first time. But I would fast forward through stuff. Like I wouldn't watch it from beginning to end. I would fast forward through some parts. But I would watch it again just so I could see if I catch everything. Y'all see what I'm saying? Because my chick said once enough. Natalie said an 8.5. Quake said an 8. Damn, Amber said a 5, child. Yeah, but I mean, it's not something that I would watch, like I would watch over and over and over and over and over again. No. But I would watch it at least one more time just so I could catch some stuff. Well, Quake said she expected it to be a 2. So that's definitely, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I did not have high expectations. And I honestly thought that I knew the whole story. So when I watched it and I realized, oh, they did give me a little twist. Because I really went in thinking it was going to be something totally different. The way the movie started already let me know that what I thought isn't what it was, right? I thought it was going to be a situation where the husband was cool with the past until he found out it was a woman. And I thought that I thought that the husband was going to be tripping over the fact that his wife was sleeping with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was going to be like the whole twist. But within the first few minutes, I realized, okay, that's not what's going on here. Because when they let us know that the husband was broke, I said, okay, something different. It's something different happening here. So, you know. All right, y'all, I got to go. Thank y'all for being here. Please hit the like button if you have not already. You know I got to go to bed, honey, because I got to be up and be ready for them churn first thing in the morning. So I appreciate y'all. Don't forget we'll be here for the Whether You Like It or Not panel tomorrow. And I'll talk to you later. No, Xavier, you'll be surprised how many men get in their feelings. So, I mean, a lot of men don't have a problem fetishizing girl on girl action, but it does something to their ego if their wife engages in a full out affair. It's one thing when it's just a one night, or when you're using the woman the other woman as a prop, right? They're fine with that. They are fine with that. But when they realize that, oh, wait a minute, she actually has feelings. Oh, wait a minute, they're actually engaging in a relationship. That's where the ego comes in. If it's just a sex thing, yeah, they're cool with that. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.